All right, we're making one pot pasta. This is going to be a creamy mushroom, shrimp, asparagus, rigatoni. That's the rigatoni I'm going to use. Mezzi rigatoni. They're the short, fat ones. Got some shrimp thawed out in there. And we're going to cut the mushrooms into fairly thin, bite-sized pieces. I'm going to cut one into slightly larger pieces just so there's a texture variation, but cut them into whatever size you want. We're also going to throw some garlic into this. I'm going to grate 3 cloves into real fine garlic paste just so it mixes into the sauce real nicely. There's going to be some bigger pieces left over that you can't really grate and your fingers will get in the way, so just chop those up. You'll see me do that in a second. Just chop off the root ends also, and then just run these through a box grater or a microplane, whatever you feel the most comfortable using. These were the leftover pieces, so just come on and chop them up in nice little bits, whatever other sizes you want. It's all cool. And now we're going to get a large pan that you could cook everything together in on the heat. We're going to throw those shrimp in. I know it's not a lot of shrimp or a lot of asparagus. I'm making this just for me. There's going to be way too much pasta already, I can tell you that. Salt and pepper these. The asparagus was also all I had left in the fridge, so that's, less than I needed. But still turns out great. You're cooking these shrimp here about 75-80% of the way. You're going to take them out and reintroduce them to the sauce later. That way they do not overcook. But just get some nice color on each side. Then we're going to pop these out and throw them into a bowl or put them on a plate on the side. We're also going to chop these up into slightly finer pieces in a little bit just to make them more bite-sized. Once you get those out into the same pan, add all of your mushrooms and your asparagus, and we're going to cook these down for about 3 to 5 minutes, and also then remove them from the heat. That way they don't cook down too much. Some people will leave these in for the entire cooking process. I believe that doing that makes them a little too mushy. I like to have a little bite left in the asparagus, and I don't want the mushrooms to completely evaporate. But to help get some of that fond off the bottom of the pan, throw in a splash of white wine, and then just salt and pepper these also. The asparagus will keep its really nice color because you're not cooking it to death here. And then taste the mushroom, make sure they're just where you want them. And then we're going to pull these out, let them sit on the side, and we're going to cook our pasta into this same exact pot. Once you get those out, we're going to add in a large amount of stock. I can't give you an exact amount. You want enough that you could cover the pasta that you're cooking with. Throw in that mezzo rigatoni. I like these. They're the short ones. Then we're also going to add in half a cup of cream just to help this as it cooks down, slightly become a sauce right off the bat. And then we're going to let this come to a boil. Mix it up a little bit. You ideally, in the pan or pot, you want to have the noodles covered. You may have extra liquid at the end, which you could pour out and make a sauce still, which I'm going to have to do. But now, while that comes up to a boil, I'm going to chop these shrimp up into just smaller bite-sized pieces. I think it works a little better in a sauce like this. It's more restaurant-y to kind of have small bite-sized pieces rather than whole tail-on shrimp. I don't think that works in a pasta. I want to be able to take everything in one bite together. So smaller bite-sized pieces work best in my opinion. Here's that pasta coming up to a little bit of a simmer. We're going to let that keep going, get all the way up to a nice rolling boil just like that. As you can see, the pasta is absorbing a good amount of that liquid, and it also reduces. This is it after the good 12 minutes to al dente. There was still a little too much liquid in there for me to reduce that down into a nice sauce. So we're going to pour a little off. If you use a different size pan, you may not need to do that at all. But once you do that, we're going to reincorporate all of the mushrooms, the asparagus, the shrimp, and then we're also going to add in a sprinkling of the parsley at this stage. That way it wasn't in there for the whole cooking process. It'll just let off its flavors now nicely and really make this dish elevated. Once you start to mix it, you will see that it is a little bit loose. That's totally fine. The cheese we're going to add, a touch of butter, and just working this will bring it to a beautiful texture. Throw in that's 1 tablespoon of butter. We're also going to sprinkle in a little bit of parm. I know this is not freshly grated, it's just what I had, but this does not have the cellulose caking in it, so you won't have clumping issues. Or you will have, it will emulsify it. That was just freshly grated parm. It's not the crap they sell. And look at how beautiful that is. It has become a beautiful, rich, thick sauce. You can add a little more cheese if you want. I'm going to add it on the plate. But that's it. It's delicious. You have the earthiness from the mushrooms, the nice taste from the asparagus and the shrimp. The cooking it in the stock with the cream. It's not as rich as an alfredo. It looks very creamy, but it's not that intense alfredo flavor. It's much more delicate and light, and it is a really, really nice dish. It is still creamy, don't get me wrong. Sprinkle some parm on there so you can enjoy it even more, but this is not just a straight up alfredo sauce. It's mushroomy, it's creamy, it's chicken flavory from the stock. This is just an absolutely delicious dish, and in one pot this was done in 15-20 minutes. Very easy for a weeknight. Enjoy, guys.